Okay, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since I uploaded a Genshin Impact video. I just needed a small blow break, but I'm back today with a Yelan first impressions analysis video. And of course, we're going to be looking at her kit before she comes out. So everything we're looking at, very subject to change, but she should be coming soon. Ayato came in the first half of this patch. And usually when they do new characters, they usually like flip-flop. So usually it's like first half of the patch and then second half of the patch is a new character. But of course, we'll know for sure once that live stream drops. So yeah, today we're going to break down her kit. We're going to look at what she's going to give to us, what she's going to provide, and I don't know, we'll kind of see. I've already looked at it kind of briefly, but I haven't really taken a super close look at it. So obviously I'm not going to get everything or cover everything today. We're just going to see what she looks like just kind of right off of the bat. Okay, so we're going to start off with her normal charge attacks, and then we're going to go to E-Scale and then Elemental Burst. So looking at normal and charge attacks, she has a unique, fully aimed charge shot. The name of this is called the Breakthrough Barb. Yeah, this is an interesting attack, right? Because this scales purely off of her HP. So at level 8 right now, we're at like 11.858% of max HP. So generally, you know, when a character is built for HP, they can hit around 30 to 40k HP. So 10% of 10 or 11% of 30k or 40k is what? 40k HP. This is like quick maths, but obviously this is not enough because you have to consider elemental resistances, the defense reduction, damage bonuses, and all that. But I'm going to do this anyway, just to kind of see what we get. 4,400 is what the average person will think she does based off of their head, but there's a lot, right? There's a lot that goes into the calculation, so this is not fully accurate, but rough idea, kind of like a rough idea. This is an attack that scales purely off of her HP, so this is hinting that this is going to be a purely HP scaling character, which she totally is. Nothing in her kit really scales off of attack that you really want to build. Her physical attacks will scale off of attack, but you really don't want to be using that at all for damage, so avoid that. And then also the Breakthrough Barb has 80% less charge time if Yelan has spent 5 seconds off the field. All right, I think I need to shut Xingqiu up for a second. If I just do this, let me just do that real quick. Yep, and so this is AoE Hydra damage. I did not mention that. This is AoE Hydra damage. That's actually huge, right? A bow character that does AoE Hydra damage on a charge shot is pretty. It's good. It's good. As long it's not single target, so that's really good. Child is single target. I know Yoimiya's charge attack is not single target. It's got those little homing thingies, but kind of weak. Anyu is a AoE bow, but I think that's about it, right? Let me see. Can we sort by like bow? We can. Oh, sick. All right. So who else? What? That's not a bow character. Who else does AoE bow damage? Nobody. Only Ganyu. Only Ganyu. And Yoimiya. Obviously, I don't have every character, but yeah, not very many characters that deal AoE damage on their charged attacks. So this is a welcome change. This is good. How big the AoE? Don't know. Hopefully it's pretty good. Hopefully it's pretty big, but we won't know. That's her normal charge attack. Breakthrough Barb is going to be pretty interesting skill. I think that you will probably just use it once you bring her onto the field, and then not use it until you swap back off and then come back in. So it's kind of like a one-time thing. The skill damage is pretty good too, so like if you can manage to vape it, it'll do pretty decent damage, I think. One time when Yelan comes back to the field, good damage if we can vape it. AoE is up in the air. We don't know. Okay, now we can move on to her elemental skill. Oh shit, wait, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, oh shit, this is 18.52, not 11, at level 8. I was looking at level 1. That's 18.52%. That's even more. It's almost double, right? This is almost double. Let's do that math again real quick. 40k is kind of a lot. Unless you have a lot of HP substats, you probably won't get that. So 7,200, right? This is not how much damage she's gonna do. This is like the noob mistake if you're trying to figure out her damage. This is not correct. Next is E skill. Okay, Lingering Lifeline. Lingering Lifeline. This one's an interesting one. It fires off a lifeline that allows her to move rapidly, and then it marks opponents upon the path that she's moving. After the skill ends or after she stops moving, it's going to deal Hydra damage to the marked opponents based off of HP. So marks opponents. So you do this by like running into them, When you stop running or sprinting, whatever you want to call it, it will explode and deal Hydro damage. This is not AoE Hydro damage. That means it's purely single target. Doesn't mention anything about how many enemies you can mark. So you can mark as many enemies as you can during the duration. Let's talk about the duration. The duration is 3 seconds if you hold it. That's right. You could just tap it and just get one enemy just to get the particles and just deal some really quick damage, or you can hold it for the whole 3 seconds and try to mark as many enemies as you can and deal more damage. Question is, does hold give more elemental particles? I don't know. That's a good question. Cooldown is about 10 seconds. So that's kind of like average, but it's not that good either. It's average. It's like, that's Ayaka levels of cooldown. Not as good as Kazuha being 6 and 9, which is freaking amazing. I wish this was probably around 8 seconds, but 10 seconds isn't bad. It's okay. Skill damage. So level 8. This is actually kind of big, right? This is 36%. 36.2% of max HP. Ooh, that's big. That's a lot of HP. Right, 36% of if you hit 40k, that's kind of a lot. And then once we get all the resistances and stuff in, I don't know, it's gonna be pretty good, I think. A little bit more on the mechanics of this. Like you can press it again to cancel it, though you don't need to spend the whole 3 seconds if you don't want to, right? You can end it early, which is good, which is super nice. Having control over this is good design, in my opinion. Additionally, 34%, oops, that's not 34, 34% to reset breakthrough barb state. So this is back to your charge attacks, okay? So, right, your charge attack resets, right? You can do another 80% faster charged hydro AoE damage. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Although, since Yelan is going to be on the field, I think vaping this might be a little bit harder unless you have like a Strongling Elemental Burst active at the same time, or some kind of off-field pyro damage happening. So I don't think you'll be able to vape this one as consistently as Hydro. You won't be able to vape this one as consistently as like your first one when you first enter the field. Right, when you first enter the field, you get the initial one. And also, this is RNG, 34%. 34% is kind of low, but the more enemies you mark, the higher chance that you get this. Also, I really hope that there is a visual indicator that you have breakthrough barb state. Otherwise, that's gonna kind of suck because you won't know when you can use your charge attack. So yeah, this skill is interesting. And it's good that it has that you can cancel it, so you have more control over it. You don't have to spend the whole 3 seconds, especially if holding gives more elemental particles, right? So you can hold it for like a second and not have to spend the whole 3 seconds, because if you have to spend the whole 3 seconds, it will increase your rotation time. 3 seconds might not seem like a lot, but you know, sometimes you get those clears like with a second to spare, and so you need every second. But we'll see really how that turns out. 3 seconds could or could not be a big game changer. Okay, that's her elemental skill. I think it's a pretty cool one. It's a really interesting one. Next, let's go on to elemental burst. Depth Clarion Dice. This one is really cool. This one is basically Xingqiu elemental burst. Basically Xingqiu elemental burst because yeah, it deals AoE Hydro damage. This is on skill activation, sorry. On skill activation. And then there's this thing, they call it the Exquisite Throw. I guess because it's a dice. It's like gambling themed, dice themed. So yeah, it's called Exquisite Throw. So anyway, Exquisite Throw. This is gonna follow you around like Xingqiu's swords and initiate a coordinated attack under the following circumstances. Normal attack, or when Yelan's lifeline explodes and hits opponents. I'm kind of having a hard time understanding the second one will occur each time the lifeline explodes. Or maybe this is designed if you use your elemental burst first, so you have the throw in place, and then you use your E skill. So right while she's like marking enemies and they're exploding, it'll also hit the enemies while you're using your E skill, because right, you're locked out of it since it's only other activation requirement is to do a normal attack. So obviously when you're in your E skill, you can't use a normal attack, so it's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. Perhaps that's what the point of this second condition for activating it is for. That's what I think. In general, it'll be for your active main DPS character when they do normal attacks. It does kind of suck that you have to do a normal attack in order to trigger it, but that's fine. I also should mention that this is like Xingqiu, right? Triggered off of normal attack, so that means it works with Raiden. It'll work with Raiden, 100%. I guarantee you it's gonna work with Raiden. I know she had some problems, right? She didn't work with Beidou, because Beidou's wording was when you deal damage, I believe, it will then trigger the chain lightning. But with Raiden, the damage is considered elemental burst damage, but she's still swinging normal attacks, right? It's still, the damage is not considered normal attack damage, but she's still like executing a normal attack. So the elemental burst should still work with Raiden teams and Raiden herself. Cool. So that's elemental burst. Yeah, wait. Got more information here. So this lasts a long time, 15 seconds. 15 seconds. That's a lot of uptime. Really good uptime. 18 seconds cooldown. 70 energy cost. 70 energy cost is not 80, but it's also not 60 or 40, but it's still pretty good. Interesting choice for 70, because usually this is reserved for those characters that infuse themselves with the element. So this is the first time where we got a 70 energy cost, and it's not really like a quote-unquote stance-changing character. All right, I think Ito is 70. Let me just go ahead and check this. I believe Ito is 70. Ito 70? Yeah, okay. Ito is 70. Kokomi is 70. Xiao is 70. And those are all characters off the top of my head that I know of that are stance changing and have 70 cost bursts. The thing that everyone is like going crazy about, why they think Yelan is going to be an amazing character, is because the Exquisite Throw deals ×3 hydro damage instances. This means a good amount of hydro application. So that means a good replacement for Xingqiu, possibly. She has a lot of other really good things as well, but right, Xingqiu he's so good. Especially if you have him at C6. He's so good. He does a lot of damage. But yes, so maybe not even a replacement, but then, or for your second team, if you run 2 pyro teams in the Abyss. Right, so now you got 2 really good Hydra applicators that you can use on both sides of the challenge. That's huge. I think that's pretty big. So there's one thing to note here though, right? So Xingqiu at C6 has 5 swords, I believe. Constellation, let's take a look. Okay, activating 2 of Guhua's sword rain cutter sword rain attacks greatly increases the 3rd sword rain attack. Do I have my burst charged? Nope. Let's go charge the burst real quick. Okay. So we got it. Right, it's 2, 3, and then 4? 2, 3. I can't count, guys. Is that 4 or is it 5? I think it's 5. Xingqiu is 2 swords, 4 sword, or 2 swords, 3 swords, and then 5 swords, which helps a lot with his hydro application, especially that 3rd sword rain attack applies a bunch of hydro because it's 5 swords. So his consistency is really good at C6 because he fires off so many swords. Whereas with Yelan, we are limited to only the 3 dice. Only the 3 dice, right? And people have said that Xingqiu does sometimes have hydro application issues if he's not at C6. There are some characters that will overtake the elemental application if your Xingqiu is not at C6. I forgot the G in Xingqiu. Yep, so right, wanted to mention that. Obviously, we don't know. Also, we don't know the cadence. So, like, we don't know how often it can trigger based off of a normal attack, because it's not like every single normal attack that you do with Xingqiu Elemental Burst triggers a sword. It's like every other, right? Because normal attacks are really fast. So this is also going to be pretty big. We don't know how fast it is. I'm going to assume it's going to be it's gonna be like the same as Xingqiu. I'm going to assume it's going to be the same. This is kind of like the elemental burst that everyone's thinking about. In terms of damage, we have 11.69% HP per dice. That's 33% to 34% per throw. Yeah, looking like a pretty good elemental burst, not gonna lie. Off-field damage is always good. Off-field damage is always good, right? Because that means you can do damage with your other character at the same time. So super freaking solid elemental burst. Love it. This character is already looking like a pretty decent character to me, at the very least. Okay, passive skills. Let's look at her passive skills. She's got two really good ones. So this one gives extra HP percent depending on how many elements are on the team. All right, 1, 2, 3, or 4. It will give you 6, 12, 18, or 30%. So getting that rainbow team going gives you the highest HP, which is obvious, but like the jump is also the highest, right? It goes up 6%, and then it goes up a massive 12%. So like double if you go rainbows, all right? It's encouraging you to do rainbow team. Encourages you to go rainbow team to get the max HP bonus. Also, I do believe that this HP percent increase is an additive increase and not a multiplicative. We can like make sure, like we'll know for sure when she comes out, but like I'm pretty confident on this one. Pretty confident. There are very little multiplicative buffs in this game. Very, very little. Very, very little. So knowing how like all the calculations typically go in this game, I'm thinking it's additive and not multiplicative. So this is going to stack on top of your HP artifacts and your substats. A plus 20 sands is 46.6% HP, I believe. I might be off a little bit on the percentage there, but yes, so if you get 30% plus 46%, you're at 76%, and then add some substats, you're getting close to quite a lot of extra HP. So, right, gonna be pretty easy to hit like 30k, maybe even 40k if you have a lot of good substats. And if you go rainbow team. Okay, next passive. So long as the exquisite throw is in play, so that means your elemental burst is active, and it's active for 15 seconds, the active character deals 1% more damage, but it increases by a further 3.5% every second. The maximum increase is 50. The pre-existing effect will be dispelled if Depth Clarion Dice is recast during its duration. So I think the only reason why they mention this is if you stack up characters that can reduce the cooldown on it, so that the duration, or sorry, not the duration, the cooldown is less than the duration, right? So it'll reset instead of additively increase. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why that wording is there. So for most people, this is not going to matter. Let's see. Max damage bonus is 50%. So what this means is that if it's every second, your max stacks is 14 stacks because it's a 15-second duration every second. So here, let's see if we can do a little bit of math. So you start at 1. And we do 3.5, so that's 2. I'm just gonna keep doing this. Okay, now let's see. How many did we get, right? So this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds, 4 seconds, oops. 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 14. So that's how much damage bonus you get at each second, right there. That there's the answer for you guys. Maybe I can put that into a table, but yeah. So let me go to the halfway mark. So okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 25.5% is kind of going to be the average damage bonus. So in my calculations, I'll probably just take the average instead of taking the maximum, because like, right, the maximum doesn't last that long. So average is how I am going to do the calculations when we get to that later. Not in this video. We're not going to get into calculations just quite yet. I will give you guys one calculation to give you guys a little sneak peek on how much damage she's doing though. But we're not going to go into super depth. So make sure, if you're new around here, subscribe if you want to see that video. That video is going to come when I do the full skills breakdown. Those videos are typically when I do the artifact and weapon calculation breakdowns. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, passive 2 is pretty good, right? So extra damage bonus is just super nice. It's super good. So not only is she dealing damage off field, and pretty good damage, she is also giving damage bonus to the active character when the elemental burst is active. So, looking great. Not gonna lie, looking really freaking good, in my opinion. At just a high level, right? Because she's giving so much utility, hydro utility, damage bonus utility, and then off-field damage utility. So I think, in my opinion, she checks off a lot of the things that you want in a good character. Also, she looks freaking awesome. Now, let's quickly do Constellations. C1 is E skill. Oops, let's do this. C1, E skill. Whoops, 3 skill. Damn it. E skill. Extra charge. I don't know how good that's going to be, especially if you want to use her as like a quick swap. But her E skill does do pretty sizable damage, so this could be good. Also, it's good just for energy, right? If you just do the tap version, just do it really quickly, tap tap, and just get all your energy. This is really a solid Constellation, I think. You could also mix in, like you could do a tap and then a hold, or like a hold and then a tap. Choice is yours. You don't have to do double hold and take up all that field time. Also, what this can do is make her more of a viable main DPS potentially. Potentially. This is totally conjecture, right? But the more E skill charges you have, the higher chance you have to get that breakthrough barb. And you can also weave in the breakthrough barb in between your E skills and deal damage that way, right? So more E skills means more energy and more chances to do breakthrough barb charge shot. Potential for more on-field presence. So I think that's good. Where the C1 makes it so that you can use the character on the field a lot more, I think is really, really awesome. Usually that's like limited to the C6 version of the character. Although the C6 version of the character definitely makes this character like a viable, more main DPS on-field character, which we'll get to in just a little bit. So that's cool, right? More energy and more on-field presence if you want to. Okay, C2 is when the elemental burst does an attack, it's going to fire an additional water arrow that deals 14% of Yelan's max HP as damage. This has a cooldown of 1.8 seconds. So this is every 1.8 seconds, basically 2 seconds. But what this means is that more hydro application. So potential more consistency. That's good. That's super good. So C2 looking like a really solid Constellation, and it's just more damage. I think it's great. Solid Constellation so far. C3, Elemental Burst. Talent level increase. Right, this goes to show, usually when Hoyoverse designs the C3 and C5, the skill that comes first is usually the character's main focus skill. So since the Elemental Burst comes first, right, it goes to show that Hoyoverse is trying to promote her more for her Elemental Burst than her E skill. Her E skill is more so just for the energy. So super good. C3, I like it. Okay, C4 increases all party members' max HP by 10% for 25 seconds for every opponent marked by lifeline when it explodes. A maximum of 40% max HP can be attained in this manner. Wow, this is a very, very cool one. So all party members, we'll break this down. All party members gain 10% max HP for 25 seconds for every opponent marked by lifeline when it explodes. There's a little caveat here that I'll mention in just a bit. Max 40% HP. Okay, so what does this mean? So first off, I just want to mention that 25 seconds is a fucking long time. This is like 100% uptime, right? Like 100% uptime, right? Her E skill is 10 seconds cooldown, so definitely just you're gonna have extra HP all the time. That's pretty good, right? More HP for Yelan also means more damage, which is great. This character is looking kind of crazy with these constellations. 10% for each, so that means you have to mark 4 enemies. So here's the caveat, right? You might not be able to mark 4 enemies all the time. So the maximum potential is not great. The uptime is good, right? Uptime is good, but max bonus not good. Uptime good, max bonus not good. So that's another thing. So another thing that I mentioned is that you will only gain this when it explodes. So must explode. So the question, will I don't think it will. Will it explode if the enemy dies to something else, right? Right? Like if you have like per se Xiangling's Pyronado going on and you kill your lifeline target before it explodes, is it going to proc this constellation? I don't think so. That's my thought. I don't think it will, which kind of sucks, but will that situation happen? I don't know, because we still don't know how long it takes for the lifeline to explode once all the enemies get marked. I think that it will explode once she stops the skill. That's when it explodes. Pretty sure that's how that works. This is probably additive as well. Additive HP increase, not multiplicative. It's still pretty good. A lot of HP is a lot of HP. So yeah, C4, I like it. C4 is cool. Also, this gives synergy to other HP scaling characters. So our other HP scaling characters are, it's going to be Zhongli. So this, right, he has that passive, this thing. So more HP for Zhongli means more damage on Planet Befall and Dominus Lapidus, I think. Oh yeah, also his normal attacks increase. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, she is a support for HP scaling characters. Gives more damage to HP scaling characters like Zhongli. Who else is HP scaling? Ayato. So Ayato kind of really likes that. And then there's one more. I think it's Kokomi. Where's Kokomi? Kokomi is scaling off HP. Yep. In Kokomi's elemental burst, she's getting a friend. Zhongli, Ayato, Kokomi are getting more damage if you use Yelan on their teams. Did I spell there right? That looks weird. Yeah, I think it's spelled like that. Don't make fun of my spelling, sorry. Okay, right, that's super cool. I think this is super cool. Okay, C5. This is E-skill, talent, level, increase. All right, now we get into C6. This one is, after using your elemental burst, Yelan is going to enter the mastermind state. Mastermind state. In this state, all of Yelan's normal attacks will be special breakthrough barbs. These barbs will have similar abilities to normal ones, and the damage dealt will be considered charge attack damage, dealing 156% of a normal breakthrough barb's damage. The mastermind state lasts 20 seconds and will be cleared after Yelan fires 5 arrows. So let's kind of break this down. She gets the mastermind state. What does this mean? Normal attacks are now breakthrough barbs, but they're special. They're not exactly the same as the charge attack ones. Okay, so similar abilities to normal ones. So when it says similar abilities, I'm not really sure what that means. We'll take a look at that later. Let's keep moving on. Considered charge attack. That's interesting. What weapons? So we gotta ask a question, right? What weapons and skills and artifacts increase charge attack damage? So this is going to be Wanderer's Troop, 4-piece. What else? Weapons, skills, and artifacts that increase charge attack damage. So if a normal or charge attack hits a target within 0.3 seconds of being fired, increases damage by 36%, otherwise it decreases damage by 10%. That's the slingshot, right? And remember, we don't care about attack percent, we only care about HP. So these 3-star weapons are kind of nice. Slingshot, so damage bonus. That's an interesting one. Slingshot could be... Is Slingshot best in slot for C6? Yelan? Probably not, but it's kind of an interesting thought. Prototype Crescent. Charge attack hits on weak points. I think it's going to be kind of hard to aim for weak points if you're just spamming normal attack, so I'm going to ignore that. Royal Bow Rust is normal attack damage, but decreases charge attack damage, so you don't want to use Rust with this because your normal attacks are now charge attack damage. Forget that. Amayumi. Increases normal attack damage by 16%, charge attack damage by 12%. When the equipping character's energy reaches 100%, this effect increased by 100%. Potentially. I mean, it's got some charge attack damage in there, but I don't think it's going to be as good. Moen's Moon. No, not really. Amos's bow increases normal and charge attack damage by 12%. After a normal or charge attack is fired, damage dealt increases by a further 8% every 0.1 seconds the arrow is in the air. So, I mean, this one does give us some charge attack damage, but it more favors when you're like far away because the arrow needs to be in flight for longer. So this is more for like distance shooting, and normal attacks on bow characters, even they have a limited range, like, to be honest, right? Okay. Elegy for the end, probably not for this. Thundering Pulse grants attack, and then normal attack damage, which we don't want, so not Thundering Pulse. Polar Star, Elemental Skill, and Elemental Burst damage. Polar Star is like pretty flexible, but not specifically for C6. Fading Twilight, yeah, that's kind of meh. And then yeah, that's about it. Slingshot and Wanderer's Troop are really the main ones that are jumping out to me for the C6. To increase charge attack damage even more, right? And Slingshot also gives crit rate. How much crit rate does it give? Let me just look real quick. 31%. It's kind of a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually kind of a lot. If you build crit rate here, you can focus on like energy recharge substats, which is arguably maybe easier to get because you know how everyone freaking throws away everything that doesn't have crit on it. The more information, so it said it deals 156% of a normal breakthrough barbs damage. So this is a little bit confusing. I'm having a little bit of a hard time trying to understand what they mean by 150% of a normal breakthrough barbs damage. So normal breakthrough barb was what, 18% of max HP? So is this like a true just like 100 and multiply the damage by 156? Or in this case, like 1.56 in that case? I don't know. That one I think needs testing and waiting to really truly understand what it means by that. I'm gonna put a note here and say deals more damage than regular breakthrough barb. And breakthrough barb does a lot of damage, right? And these are normal attacks? Like, what the heck? How does that work, right? Because her normal attacks have scaling on it. So does it replace the scaling on her normal attacks? I don't know. I don't know. And if each normal attack is dealing a breakthrough barb's level of damage, that's kind of a lot of damage. It's kind of a lot. Not gonna lie to you guys, it's kind of a lot. This is the first time I'm gonna give you guys some damage. So barbed shot, if she's holding her signature weapon, her crit damage is 200%, and she has 32k HP, okay? Her damage bonus is 81.6% extra hydro damage bonus. So this is a 2-piece Heart of Depth and hydro damage sands. Where else am I getting damage bonus actually? Because we're getting 46 plus 15. Oh, right, from the weapon. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the weapon gives us an extra 20% damage bonus. So that's why it's 81.6 and not 61.6. Yep. So, okay. An extra 81.6% extra damage bonus. Crit damage, 200%. HP is 32k. Your breakthrough barb is going to deal 14,000 damage. And so if each of your normal attacks is hitting for 14k at the very least, right? It said 156, so I'm gonna assume it's going to deal a little bit more. That's pretty good. You're hitting, I don't know, I want to say 20k. Let's just say 20k. 18 to 20k per normal attack hit. That's kind of good. So there is a limit though, right? It said it will be dispelled after 5 arrows. And then her full normal attack rotation is 5 arrows. So she has a 4-hit combo, but then she fires 2 arrows on the final attack. So 1 rotation and then your C6 is over, pretty much, right? 1 combo rotation and then C6 effect is gone. So, but that's still a lot of damage. Also, the fact that it lasts 20 seconds means that you can choose when you want to do your combo. You don't have to worry about when it's used after you pop your elemental burst. I should mention that when burst is popped. Last 20 seconds as well. So this is not unlimited, right? If this was unlimited normal attacks dealing this much damage, that would be kind of insane. But it's just 5 arrows. So I guess that's kind of how they're toning down the damage, which makes me believe that I am correct, that it is going to be just like 156% of the breakthrough barb damage, which I calculated at level 80, and all those stats is around 15k damage. So we're going to be hitting about 20 to 21k per arrow here, which is pretty good. Pretty good for C6. Yeah, she's looking pretty strong at C6. Pretty dang strong. Right, and I also really like that she still does her off-field DPS role even at C6, right? Because you fire off your 5 arrows and then you switch off, and then you have your main DPS doing the main damage. So she's still doing what she was designed to do, but then she just gives more damage with her normal attacks. Her normal attacks are actually being used as part of her kit now, right? Because before, you would never use her normal attacks. Never. Like, her normal attacks are literal wet noodle damage because it's based off of attack and it's physical damage. So you're going to be doing like 100 damage, 200 damage, 300 damage. I don't know. Just not a lot of damage. So yeah, that's Yelan for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, especially on this kind of format. I've already recorded for a super long time. Oh my gosh, the actual recording of this is almost 2 hours, but I'm going to edit this down so that it's shorter. We'll see how long this video ends up being. But anyway, yeah, drop a comment, leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel. I wish the best of luck to everyone who is planning to go for Yelan. Stay tuned, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.